Everyone, it's good to be here. It's really good to be here. Love to talk to young people. Love it. Too bad. And I hope young people, that you get something when I talk. My name is Errol Fabien, and I want to start off where this young man left off, because I'm a dreamer. I want to talk to you about dreams and realizing the dreams, and not so much for what I think you should do, but I want to share with you what I do, how I do, what I do, kind of thing. Now, I grew up in the countryside. I grew up in Gonzales village, Guapo. And there was nice, real nice. That's the place to be, I tell you. That wasn't yesterday or the day before. It was some years ago. But the home I grew up in, I'm number 6 of 9 children. If you're number 6 of 9, you get lost, completely lost. And you better be able to dream and entertain yourself, else trouble take you, right? And I was a real dreamer from small. And I would spend hours on a day by myself playing. I have 8 brothers and sisters, but I would be by myself. And I always wanted to do things myself. I always used to dream big, real big. I mean, the things I used to dream about, is embarrassing to say some of it, but I still have my dreams. I have all of my dreams still, and I still want to do all of it. But let me tell you, my parents, I think, were phenomenal. They're both dead. My father, I think, was the greatest educator I know. He was a primary school teacher and then a primary school principal. And my mother was the greatest economist and scientist and storyteller and everything in the whole world. And that's what I grew up in. That's what I come out of. That's my experience as a youth. We had everything you could plant, we used to grow. I mean, roses, chrysanthemums, dahlias, hibiscus, begonias, sunflowers, cassava, dasheen, tanya, okra, corn, peas, you name it. I grew up growing these things as a little boy. And we had pigs, goats, every feathered thing you could rear, we used to rear. Turkeys, duck, guinea bird, geese, you name it, every type of chicken you could mine, Leghorn, Rhode Island, you name it. That's what I grew up in. I was surrounded by all this life and all this beauty and all this germination and everything. And it was really, really good. But in the midst of that, I was by myself dealing with all of it and experiencing it and dreaming. When Daddy take me to cinema in Strand Point 14, and I sit there in that cinema with my apple J, with my straw made of paper. If you suck on it too long, it used to start to unfold, It's waxed paper. And I watching there, and I'm a milk cake. Yeah, it's a milk cake and an apple J. And I see Tarzan finds a son, Tarzan the Ape Man, all kinds of Western movies. And all I used to see was me on the screen. I wanted to be there. I used to tell Daddy, I want to be there. He used to try to get me to curb my enthusiasm, But I knew I wanted to be on that screen. But more than that, I knew I was going to be on that screen. I didn't know how, but in my heart and in my soul and in my being, I knew I was going to be there. So I grew up, passed no exam. I couldn't pass no exam because in school I was dreaming. I was thinking about everything else. I went to Naparima College, by the grace of God. Great learning institution, I tell you. But let me tell you, in Naparima College, I sang with the combo. I did public speaking for the school, calypso for the school, calypso for the class, volleyball for the class, drama festival. I didn't have no time for book. I had no time for that. I was busy doing everything else because those things I dreamed of doing when I was in school. Class and lessons were just too slow. I was going. So I had to put a little turtle in my step now, I realize. A lot of turtle in my step. But that whole thing about calypso, because I would listen to it. Dad used to play calypso, and I love it. I love how they would craft their songs and how they would say this, specifically this, but they mean that, and that was so amazing for me, So in school, when a teacher didn't come or when we had a free period and a next teacher comes to supervise, 8 out of 10 times they'll ask, so what all you want to do? And 10 out of 10 times the class will say, let Fabien give jokes. Errol Fabien, I used to give all my father's jokes, all his jokes. I couldn't think of anything for myself in that area. But I didn't like it. I liked that. I liked being there and giving the jokes and, playing this and becoming this character and that character in the joke. I love to tell a good joke. So, I would just be dreaming of all these things. But also in secondary school, I got exposed to marijuana. And I had always wanted to smoke. I wanted to smoke from small, and I was smoking from small. I was smoking before I was 10 years old, okay? Because I wanted to do it. And when I want to do something, I do it. So, hello, in them days, we had no garbage truck. We didn't even have garbage liners, didn't have garbage bag in the world yet, at least certainly not in my corner of the world, So we used to put our garbage in a bucket. And when it full, we empty it in a heap. Everybody had a heap. And Saturdays, you rake the heap with daddy. You go try a little kerosene, light it, and gone. And I would come back with my gazette paper. That was the first thing I smoked, gazette paper. So I roll my gazette paper, and a flame getting on there. And I get close enough to catch that thing. Flames. Can't smoke flames. So I thought, out it. And then I didn't realize the amount of physics I used to use because I used to have to pull with a specific PSI, pounds per square inch. Because if you pull too hard, the oxygen on the way in reignites the cinders and flames go vroom, down in your throat. It's burn bad. I know because I get burned many a Saturday, time and time again. And that little experience there helps me to explain to you about a disease that I live with. It's called addiction, right? And addiction, it's a clinical disease, and it has a definition like all clinical diseases. It's repeating an action or an experience in spite of negative consequences. Addiction is repeating an action or an experience in spite of negative consequences. That has nothing to do with drugs. I found out way after, but nonetheless, from small, I already had a history of repeating things in spite of negative consequences. No one licks I get for not doing my schoolwork. You think I do it? I was dreaming and doing everything else. You know how much trouble I get in? Every Saturday I used to get burned from smoking this gazette paper. And every Saturday I go on back with my gazette paper to go and light it again. And that was my life. It was a series of events like that. But then I left school. By the time I left school, I was smoking a lot more. I was dreaming a lot more. And I had no subjects. I should not have gone to the exam rooms, really. I think it was really humiliating. But I went. I had to go. I went. I remember whoever corrected my geometry paper, because geometry to me was like Japanese trigonometry. It's like something that just can't be understood. So whoever corrected my geometry paper got essay on the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, which I was very versed in. I was very versed in it. So I wrote a whole other thing, because it was going to England to be copied, to be corrected. So I write, too bad. But when I left school, my father wanted me to go back to school, but I didn't want to go back to school. I wanted to make my dreams come true. I had all these big dreams, So I left home. Home was getting anyway. I left home, and I moved to town. I moved to Belmont. My sisters used to share a house in Belmont. And my sisters were so progressive. And, they knew where they were going. That's one thing. That's why I always praise my parents. From early, they encourage us to go where we want to go. Whatever you want to do, go and do it. But be good. Be the best, And so I just, that was in me. And I love the stage. I like this thing in front of the class, talking to everybody. And I like that. And I love television and the big screen. I want to go there. I want to be in that TV, and I want to be on that big screen. And I didn't actively pursue these things, but I was ready. Listen now, one day in your life, you'll be somewhere where you least expect to be, and you will hear, opportunity will come knocking, and you better be ready. I am always ready. Anything happen here right now, I am ready. I was always ready. When my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, got pregnant with our first child, I went and do a course in childcare and nursery management. I was the only man in the class. Them girls really laughed at me. After the first day, I didn't want to go back, but I went. Because when that baby reach, I want to be ready. I have to be ready. I always have to be ready. And by the time that baby was 13, my wife and I get separated. And I became a single father of children who were 13, 12, 11, 5, and 4 years old. I was ready. I was ready to do it, and I was able to do it. And I brought up my children on my own. I'm still a single father. I have 7 children now, though. But I'm still a single father because I was ready. And after I went through all the madness with the drugs and thing, I worked in a couple of television environments, and I'd loved it. I'd worked with a company called Banyan. We're doing a TV show weekly called Gayelle. I was the production assistant. Fancy name for do everything, dude. You know, so I would lift up the lights, lift up the cameras, pack the car, drive the car, unpack. If they go in here tomorrow, I come here today to see where the light is, what they need, how long the distance from the outlet is, all them kind of thing. But I was getting myself ready. So after I get tied up with all this madness with drugs, I leave the station, I end up on the streets, I end up in the rehab, come back out. The people come to call me to come and present, go in front of the camera, hello. That's what I was waiting for. You know, since I was in the cinema, 6 years old with Daddy, that's the moment I was dreaming about that. I dream about that. I come and tell me, well, the 3 guys who present the program going away and they recommend you do it. We couldn't find you. I said, well, I was in a rehab center. Nobody couldn't find me, really. They say, well, we want you to do this thing. I say, well, I have meetings to go to. I want to stay drug-free, so I have to go meetings every day. They say, well, work 2 days a week. So I say, all right, I work 2 days a week, Monday and Tuesday, as a presenter. By the end of month 6, I was writer and presenter. By the end of the first year, I was producer, director, writer, presenter. And if it was humanly possible to videotape yourself, I'd have been the cameraman too. I was ready. I was ready, and I was dreaming about this all my life. And now, about 2 years into this TV series, the show canceled. The station don't want the show no more. And when we had put Sprang on, the station had sent a message to get that monkey off of the TV. You understand? And a lot of times when we do the show, they find it too long, they find it too this. And from then, I thought, dude, you need your own TV station, you know. You need to get your own TV station. I tell people that, and it's a joke. I don't know why people feel everything I say is a joke, but it there. I start working on that. I move. That's what I want. I want to have my own TV station. If I want to put you on TV, I could put you on TV. If I want to put you on TV, I could put you on TV, or you or anybody else. Because by very virtue of being a national of Trinidad and Tobago and living in the Caribbean, I feel you have a story to tell and you deserve to be on TV. But everybody on TV looking and sounding like people from somewhere else. So that TV thing finished, and I keep knocking about. And a day I get a call from a fellow named Tony Maraj. He's doing this film, and he's looking for actors. When I say a film, to go in cinema, he said, I say, I'm ready. I'm ready. He said, we had to talk pay. I say, hey, we had to talk pay after. Let's get the script and let's get me on that big silver screen. I was able to take my children to Movie Town and to K-Donna on different occasions to see Daddy in different films because I dreamt of the day and I knew the day would come. And when the call came, when I heard the knock of opportunity, I was ready because I watch TV. I watch all the big stars. I watch the movies. I watch them. I see how they're doing the thing. And when I get my chance, I'm going to do the thing too. So I was ready. I used to listen to this man, David Elcock, on mornings. Oh, he was the greatest morning radio show. So I tell myself, I want a morning radio show. I started one. About 15 years ago. I left it, but I'm back on it on 105. On mornings, it's called Mixed Nuts. And I'm there because when that knocking came, because all the time I'm dreaming about it, when a day Holly Thomas called me and said, boy, we're thinking about, hey, I am ready. I am the man for you. Put me on. I'm ready. I used to MC in Calypso tents. Even when I was drugging, I used to MC in Calypso tents. I used to get half the show. I used to wear a costume. Nobody knew it was me. But I'm watching, observing, in the middle of the thing. And I thought, the humorous guys at the show. This fete thing is for any fete. The real action in the tent is the humorous thing. Nobody want to listen. I opened my own humorous calypso tent, you know what I mean? And I was ready. When the day came, I was ready. We opened the tent. The tent did great. The tent did very good. You know, I could have done so much more, I think, and I could have done it all so much sooner, I think, but there's something that happened in my life that snatched my dreams from me, and it is the abuse of mood and mind-altering substances. And I can't talk to young people and don't tell you that if you abuse mood and mind-altering substances, they will snatch your dreams from you. They will take it from you. And very few will be lucky enough to get out of it and go on your business again. You see that drug in particular called marijuana? Stay far from that. Nobody can tell me about marijuana. I telling you about it, because if a joint is 4 inches long, I probably smoke about 100 miles of marijuana in my life. I kid you not. Stay away from that drug. It is the most harmful substance you'll put into your body. Trust me. If you go online, you'll read real propaganda about all the great things about it. Trust me. Think back to your community for a second and tell me, do you know that there are fellas liming on the corner in your community? How long they there? All your life. Your mother's holding you and going to primary school and they was there. You're passing by yourself going secondary school and they were there. You're out in university now and they're there. They abuse marijuana. It has snatched their dreams from them. It has reduced their world to that corner and that little spot. Trust me. Nobody tell me about this. I used to be on that corner, and it's by the grace of God that I'm standing here today. Today, my life has not become a bed of roses, but I still have dreams. I have huge dreams, and I will be ready when I hear that not coming. What I do, I spend as much time as I can around the things I like and the things I want to do. The things we spend the most time doing is what we get good at. The things we spend the most time doing is what we'll get good at. So what do you spend your time doing? God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.